Lawrence for 5 minutes.
Thank you. There's a couple of things. It's very troubling to sit here as a woman and to hear some questions that obviously are insensitive. One, the continual question of why don't you provide the x-rays for a mammogram, where every woman here knows you have a primary doctor, and that doctor examines you, and if there is a lump, you are referred to a specialist. So I wish those who would sit here to ask those questions would actually have the sensitivity to understand what a woman goes through with her health care. That would allow us to ask more pertinent questions. Secondly, it is exhausting to keep hearing about federal dollars being spent on abortion when repeatedly the facts state, and it's not a controversy, read the facts, do your research before you ask these exhausting, sometimes I feel insulting questions. We cannot use federal dollars for abortion. This is not a lump sum budget item that we give to Planned Parenthood. It is reimbursement. How many times does that have to be repeated for this to become an embraced fact? If there were no citizens of the United States going to Planned Parenthood to receive these medical approved services that we approve as a Congress, there would be no reimbursement going to Planned Parenthood. They would not receive any funds. I just, for the life of me, sitting here today, I know my colleagues are more intelligent than this, and it is exhausting to hear just a philosophy of attack to just use information that is totally incorrect, as if I keep saying it some kind of way, it'll become factual. My question, Ms. Richards, there seems to be this continuous thought that if Planned Parenthood went away, that there would be these other health care services for a million of women because you went away. There's a suggestion that all of these community health centers would just step in and fill up. Sarah Rosenbaum, a professor of health and law and policy at George Washington, has worked with the community health centers for years. And I quote, "A claim that community health centers readily can absorb the loss of Planned Parenthood is a gross misrepresentation." I would ask you, Ms. Richards, in your experience in health care, the perception that if you went away, it would be totally absorbed. Can you please respond to that?
Thanks, Congresswoman. Yes, I think this is a really important point, and I know there's been a lot of discussion. First, just for the record, we see 2.7 million patients a year. 78% of them are at 150% of poverty or below. So these are a group of women and men and young people who are often uninsured and certainly have less access to care. I know there have been a lot of reports that have come out since Congress has suggested eliminating access to Planned Parenthood for patients. I know the CBO own study, the Congressional Budget Office, estimated that 390,000 women would lose care next year if Planned Parenthood, if women could no longer go to Planned Parenthood. And I think to some of the questions that have been raised, it's really important for folks to understand, just as you talked about how women actually get breast exams and breast care in this country. In some areas, we are the only safety net family planning provider. And that is the care for most women, and particularly young women, what the care that they need is family planning, it's access to their cancer screenings and their well-woman visits. In many areas, there are long waits. 60% of our clinics will see folks the same day. In some areas, they won't take any more Medicaid patients, and Planned Parenthood is the only entity.
And it is true that the Medicare and the targeted audience or group that use Planned Parenthood are often those who are most at risk. African American minority women die at a higher level than any other population when it comes to breast cancer, when it comes to actually dying from having pelvic or cervical cancer. So we are actually giving opportunities. I want to ask Mr. Chairman, unanimous consent to enter a letter into the record from Latino organizations that stated that they know for a fact in their communities, the community health centers could not absorb this. And I just want to close because I only have 2 seconds.
Without objection, so ordered. But gentlewoman's time has expired.
Thank you.
No, thank you. We'll now recognize the gentleman from Arizona.